Okay, guys, welcome to our episode of Playing in Traffic. Today, we are going to speak with Emma. Emma was baptized into the WMSCOG in September of 2002 in a house church, and she became a deaconess in August of 2005, and then after that became a missionary in 2008. So she was there for a long time and then finally was able to to escape and to get out of the church in 2019. So that is a long time.
You're the first missionary we've ever spoken to.
Yeah, I know. There's another one that left, but she doesn't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
coming to our podcast.
Mhm.
We're excited
Well,
to talk.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome. And have you ever done anything like this? Have you ever talked on a YouTube video or anything?
No, never. My first time.
Wow, thank you. We feel honored when people do that because that's just a podcast is a different platform to do it too.
So there were like 20 members when I got to the house church. And at that time, no one can go to the services. No one could go to the, it was the altar or the most holy place. It was in the basement of a house.
Wow.
And yeah, and you couldn't go down there unless you got to a certain study. And then you can go down there because you couldn't hear An's name because it was too holy for us to hear.
Whoa. So you were baptized and then you still had to study before you could go and actually get revealed more and more.
Yeah.
Wow. So that sounds more like Xinjiangji. I always say their name wrong. That sounds a little bit more like how their tactics were.
They changed their tactics after a while. So I guess maybe that was the way in the house church. And then when they got to an actual church building, then it was different there because that's when they changed.
It seems like in the beginning they really wanted to protect that name, An Sang Hong's name, and not really reveal it so quickly. So that's interesting. So what were you doing before you were preached to in 2002? What was your life like? What was Emma doing?
Well, Emma was a mom, a new mom. My daughter was 1 at the time I joined the church. So, I was busy being a mom and a wife, and I was in school too. I was pursuing my nursing degree. But of course that stopped. A couple of months after I joined the church. Ding Dong told me, what's the point anymore? Because, it was the end of the world was right around the corner. So
right.
And what was the year? Was it 2005?
No, in 2002 he told me this. Actually, 2003 he told me, well, what's the point in continuing your education if we're about to go?
Right.
So scary. And did they have a date like how they did in 2012? Was it like a month and a date and
They didn't have a month because then they would use that verse that said no one knows the day or the hour, but we have an idea. They would say that we have an idea. And then it was through that study, 7 churches, I believe. And they definitely said that there was a certain date, and they would lean towards 2012 because of how many years King Herod took to build the temple, and then they calculated it to 2012, but they said he would come earlier. So yeah, so it was always maybe, we don't know yet, but it's around this time. And then there was a time when they did say 2012 would be the end. They did.
Do you feel like that really motivated you to stay in the church, or were you scared, or how did that affect you personally?
Yeah, so most of the reason I stayed in is because, the fear of hell. I don't want to go to hell, right? So, if the end of the world's coming in 2012, well, I got to get busy hustling and getting all those people to come in, and, I don't want to be left behind, and I don't want to go to hell,
We talked to Luis on last week, and he said they targeted him with his military background, and then with Tony, Michelle would say with her nursing background, Tony with her like having a kid. Did they do that with you having a young daughter?
Oh yeah, they would
there's-
use my daughter as like, well, you got to worry about her salvation, because there was a time where I was like, man, this is too much for me. I felt it from the beginning.
Yeah.
I said this is too much for me. This is intense. I don't think I could stay here and live this kind of life. I have to be here like 24/7 almost. And but they will always use my daughter. What about her salvation? God gave her to you so that, you're in charge of her soul. What are you going to do? And when the judgment day comes and God says, hey, I gave you a soul to take care of.
Like, that's heartbreaking to me because that shit works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. It kept me in for all this time.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you first go in 2002 and you're studying, how quickly were you baptized? Like, was it immediately?
Same day.
Same day. So you're baptized. Was your daughter baptized with you?
Yeah.
And then what about your husband? Was your husband baptized with you?
No, he came a month after.
Okay.
And then he was baptized too, but he didn't want to get baptized.
Wow. So he came in.
That's a whole other session.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting the dynamics we were talking about earlier, between the husband and the wives, and just different timings that they believe and then that they go away, and it's so interesting. So then you were studying, and what did you like about the church when you first started? Because obviously there was something that kept you going.
Well,
in the beginning.
I grew up in a small household, just my father and my mother, and I didn't really have that sibling, connection. All my brothers and sisters were the oldest. I'm the youngest. And then when I saw it looked like they had the family union. It was a house church. They ate together, they had lunch together, they had dinner together, and then I was surprised that they would, get together during the week. And I'm like, oh wow, this is like a family setting. This is really nice. And of course, in the beginning, everything's so beautiful and so happy, and there's no problems, there's no worries. And so I was attracted to that. But,
is that something that they say in the church? No worries.
Yeah,
they do say that.
Tony say it a lot
to her son a lot, and every time I hear it, I think of my sister like consoling my nephew, saying no worries, no worries. But you just said it, and I just linked it that they must say that. That must be
they did. Yeah, we have no worries. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we were delirious, to have any worries.
Right.
It's crazy. And like some of the things that I hear, it's like that's not, they take like what is sort of normalized in regular Christianity, and then they like hype it up to the next level, and they make it so intense. So it's like, it's not that weird of behavior or anything shocking, but they just take it to that level that is like, okay, like that's not realistic.
What's sad is, and what makes me sad is like all the time I was in Raymond, and Michelle could tell you, I was very intense. Very intense. I was really like a tyrant when I was there. So they taught me to be that way as well.
Yeah.
And it's sad when I look back, I'm like, that's not the person I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's not who you are. That's your cult identity. It's not who we are, So, yeah, so it's so interesting. So you became a deaconess 3 years later after you were baptized. So can you explain what that feels like to receive your first title in the church? What did that feel like? And how did you receive the news that you had become a deaconess?
Well, General Pastor was there.
Oh.
He came to New York. We weren't really New York. We were New Jersey, but they called us New York. And he came to New Jersey, and it was in the Bogota region, in Bogota, New Jersey. And he called me and a couple of others. So it was like 5 of us, and we went upstairs to get ordained, anointed or whatever you call it. And he asked us. I remember him asking us, so we could have either refused or not, but who was going to refuse at that moment? It was like you were given an option, but you really weren't given an option, because if you said no, you were gonna get chewed out after. So
Right. That's
yeah.
interesting. You must have felt extremely blessed, quote
Oh
unquote, to
yeah.
be to receive that title from general pastor, right?
Yeah, definitely. But at that time, I felt like wow, I was better than someone else. That's sad.
Right.
That's sad.
Right. That's
hmm
why I was excited to talk to you, because not many people understand what it's like to be a leader in one of these organizations, in one of
hmm
these, high control groups, and what that feels like internally, and kind of what people don't want to talk about how that feels. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
we were always told to be humble, and that, deaconess means servant, right? And we need
hmm
to serve, and we need to always be serving people. But inside, you felt really special. Like, you felt like, well, I did personally. I felt like I'm
Yeah, so
special,
did
but I
I.
but I need to be humble, right? I need to be humble, but I was chosen by God. So all y'all need to listen to me, kind
Yeah.
of, right?
Oh yeah.
In a
That's why
way.
that's why everyone who remembers me, I was a tyrant. I was
Wow.
like a dictator, like instead of being humble, I was a total opposite. I was like,
Mm,
look at me, I'm special. You're not a deaconess, I'm a deaconess. Inside that's how I felt, but
right.
no one knew really
Right.
what I was feeling inside. So it was like really bad.
Right.
Instead of the title giving you like more humbleness, it actually made me really total opposite.
I don't think it's just you, and that's why I'm so glad to talk to you. I think it's all of us. All of us that received a title kind of felt that way, and it's it's dangerous if you get that kind of power to certain people. It could be really
hmm
dangerous. And so, did you feel like do you feel like you were strict to the members as a deaconess,
I
and then
was.
later as a missionary? So you became a missionary 3 years later.
Yeah. hmm
It's
Yeah, I was. I
interesting.
was very, very strict and very like, what's wrong with you? Don't you have faith? Uh, I was really bad. I was really bad.
And do you
I
feel like that was encouraged, like, for you to be more strict? Like, you were more blessed because you were more strict to the members?
I was I was under the impression that I was allowed to be that way
Mm,
because that's what I saw from the leadership, from the
right,
prior group leaders and the prior deaconesses and they were all like that. So I was like,
right.
what's the difference? And then when I would get reprimanded or I would get in trouble, I'm like, I don't get it. All
Mm.
the other leadership is like that, so why am I getting reprimanded?
So would you get, quote unquote, rebuked for being too strict?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, interesting. A
Yeah.
lot of the missionaries are very strict. It seems like I don't know, that they encourage that they like that type of a controlling leader to
Mhm.
to control the members.
Well, sometimes from what I remember, um I would I didn't want to be that way, but I was made to be that way
Right.
because Ding Dong used to be like, what are you doing? You should know where they are. You should know why haven't you called her yet? Why haven't you done this? And make sure she does this and make sure she does that. And it's like, oh my God, I have to be a tyrant. I have to be a dictator, So we were molded into being that way, which is very sad.
It is
When I
very sad. So did you guys have like a group organization, and so you were like a group leader, and then you had a lot of members under you? How many members do you think were under you?
at in 2005 it was when I flourished as a
Mm.
deaconess, and I had like maybe 50 members, and another missionary had like another 50 members. It was the ones who taught the most were the ones that had the most members. That's how it worked back then.
Right. So you
I
were mostly a Bible teacher.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you enjoy Bible teaching?
I did
Yeah.
at the time. Yeah, I did enjoy it, but then towards the end I didn't enjoy it at all. I felt
Right.
I felt like a hypocrite at the end.
Mm.
Yeah.
So how old was your daughter? Like, I'm trying to calculate. So she was like growing up. She's a little baby when she's in.
hmm
And so how old was she when you started to kind of doubt and you were like, we got to get out of here?
Well, she left before I started the
Oh,
doubting. She
oh,
left. She was 15 at the time.
wow.
Yeah, she says, Mom, I didn't choose this. You did. And I want to enjoy my freedom. I want to enjoy my youth. I want to go out. I want to go to parties. I want to celebrate Christmas. I want to celebrate Halloween. I want to do all those things. I want to be normal.
Yeah.
And
And when
Wow.
were you like, absolutely not? Or were you like, good for you? Yeah, I can see
well,
that.
see, I had a double life.
Yeah.
I had a double life
As a
because I
parent,
was one way in the church,
yeah.
and then I was one way at home.
Okay.
So so whatever she wanted to do, not that I would let her get away with murder or anything like that, but like you wanna go to a party? Sure. Do whatever you want. Like I didn't wanna hold her back,
Yeah.
because it's true.
And
She didn't choose. She got really tired of everyone comparing her to me. Like she lost her identity because but you're missionary Emma's daughter. You're missionary Emma's daughter. You should be teaching. You should have her skills. You should have her faith. You should have her. And then it's like, no.
And expecting her to become a preacher and a Bible teacher. She's like, no, I don't want to do that. Can you explain what it was like when she was little in the church and you being a leader?
She lived
What
there. She
she
lived
lived there.
there. She was there all the time. I got there in the morning, and she was there until she was sleeping on a mat in the kids'
Every
room.
day? Would you say every day?
Yeah,
Yeah,
every day.
every day.
That brings to mind one story. See, as we were talking, then I remembered things. So then one time, the pastor's wife, I felt bad for my daughter. She was sleeping in the kids' room. So I was like, I'm not gonna wake her up. I'm gonna pick her up. She was big. She was like 7 years old, but I carried her, and then she goes, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Put her down." I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna put her down. She's asleep. She's tired. She's exhausted. I'm not gonna wake her up. She's sleeping. I'm gonna carry her. I'm gonna put her in the car, and she's gonna continue to sleep."
see, I hear those stories and I never had to, I can't imagine somebody telling me that about my children. I'd be like, fuck you.
Well, trust me, I did want to say that, but
Like, so in your heart, when that stuff would happen, you'd be,
yeah,
your mama bear would come out like, get out of my way.
yeah. But unfortunately, all the brainwashing and all the I don't know how you would call it, like if I was disobedient, I would feel like, man, I have to obey. I have to. And she would show me all these verses in the Bible about, not sparing the rod. If you don't beat your child, you don't love them. And it's like, I didn't want to hit my child, but there were times I did because of not being disobedient.
Sort of the example that we were taught in the
Mm-hmm.
church
And
and
it's
from
the Bible, right? Like you guys, the Bible is like one of the main books. And so if you really are reading the Bible and taking it literal, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to do that in the Bible. So it's not that far fetched that I could see how people make that connection of how to discipline their kids if they're using that as like their moral compass.
Mm-hmm.
especially as a missionary. I mean, there was probably so much pressure on you for your child to be on their best behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when she left, how did you feel when she was 15 and she said, "Mom, I'm out of here"? What did that make you feel like?
I mean, of course, I was really, really sad, and I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
no, she's going to hell," you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And part of me was relieved because she didn't have to deal with all the bullshit in the kids' room and
Mm.
all the reprimanding and all the yelling and all the screaming. So much yelling and screaming. Be quiet. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't. It's like they couldn't be kids. They could not be kids.
Right.
It was so sad.
So at what point was it for you, Emma, that you started to kind of doubt and you kind of started the wheels started changing and you were like, oh no.
Well, it wasn't so much. It wasn't so much doubting. It was more like I was fed up. I was so tired. There's a video that from one of the YouTube videos I've seen from one former member, and he hit it right on the money. And it was like, no matter what I did, no matter what, it was not enough.
And from 2002, just from what I know and what I've heard, so much changed. Like, I feel like every year it's like, well, we never taught that. You can go to Thanksgiving now. We never, now you need to bring in this much fruit in order to like prevail or whatever. And so I bet you just saw so many
changes. Yeah.
eights. And then I can imagine that by the end of it, you're just like, I can't keep up with this.
Yeah, it was too much. It was like in the beginning, it was so strict. You couldn't go to Thanksgiving. You couldn't be with your family on Christmas. You couldn't be with your family. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, what are you doing in church? Why aren't you with your family? And I'm like, well, this is a little bipolar. Like,
Yeah.
Like it was bad. It was hard. It was hard because we were taught one way very strictly in the beginning. And then later on it was now it's super lenient. It's super lenient now because, people are actually waking up and realizing this is not right. It's wrong.
And that's something that we, like, a recurring conversation. I think it was Raymond who originally said it. Like, if the people who've left, who've seen things, can encourage the church to make changes for the better for the members in there, like, at least at the very least, the members who are in there can have like a better experience. Maybe it's so bad. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see how you can have a better experience. Somehow, some way, it's like a leopard cannot change its spots.
Yeah.
They will continue to be controlling. They will continue to be some way, somehow, subliminally, or another tactic that they'll use to get the person to be controlled by the church.
Right.
They have their ways. They have their ways. They might not be a tyrant anymore, or a dictator, or strict, or reprimanding, but they'll find a way to get them to come.
Yeah. That's true.
Wow. So Emma, can you explain, kind of way off track, sorry, but can you explain, you mentioned that you went to Korea. Did you go one time or did you go several times?
5 times.
5 times?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, we apparently met in Korea and I didn't remember.
I remember you.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I remember you. Yeah.
Wow, you have a good memory.
Such a cool
so 5 times.
You guys met in another country on the other side of the world.
And we didn't speak to each other at all.
Crazy. Right? Wasn't it a big group of people, maybe hundreds?
Yeah, it was. It was a really
What was
your
first year that you went to Korea?
2003.
Wow.
August
and so was that a lot smaller group, more intimate?
Yeah, it was 10 girls, 10 of us from New York, and the rest were from LA. There was Frank was in that one.
Wow.
I don't know if you know Frank, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and then what was your last trip to Korea?
I believe it was the month before I left.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I told them on the trip I was leaving.
Wow.
But they thought I was joking. They thought it was a joke.
Really? What did you say to them?
I told the one that's in charge of the East Coast, I told her, "Hey, I'm not staying. I'm leaving. I'm gonna go." And then she's like, "What are you talking about?" Oh, stop it.
So you already knew you were gonna leave before you went to Korea?
Yeah, it was more like my last hurrah, like my last, this is it. If she does something to show me 1 inch, I had like a hope. Maybe she is God, maybe. And she knows why I'm coming. And then she'll tell me, hey, Emma, snap out of it, like, stay, don't go. But nothing. Nothing.
What an interesting experience. You got to go actually see her in the mindset of like, she's probably not actually God. Wow. And
hoping that she was, right? Because you had spent all these years. And so like, this has to be true. This has to be true. She's going to show me a sign. She's going to prove to me that she's God. And then how did you feel when there was nothing?
I was devastated. I was devastated because I was like, man, if she really cares about my soul, then she should be saying something.
Right.
Not just I miss you or I love you, like something concrete,
Right.
And nothing. I got nothing.
You'd been so many times, like when you would go, did she have any recollection that she had met you before, or was it like personal at all? It's very
No, you would think that it was personal because somebody down the line told her something,
Yeah.
so that to make you believe she remembers you.
yeah.
And she really didn't. She was just told.
Yeah.
Right. People are constantly whispering in her ear in Korean, and so you don't really know what they're saying.
Yeah,
They're like standing right next to her, speaking to her in Korean while you're there, and so you don't really know what they're. So they could be telling her information about you, and
exactly.
then right. But even if they are giving her information about you, she's not giving you anything, right? She's not giving you any
No,
kind of
no,
comfort or reassurance or anything like that.
nothing.
So how long were you doubting before you went to Korea or thinking about
Well,
leaving?
I thought in 2010 I thought about leaving.
Wow, 2010. Wow.
Yeah, I thought about leaving because I felt I wasn't going anywhere, in the sense of like what am I doing with my life? I'm losing my money. Not that I had a lot, because in the church, when you're there, you have a mediocre job, barely making minimum wage, because what kind of job can you get if you have to keep all these feasts and you have to keep all these dates and all these things? So it's like I had to be a nanny, and
Mm.
I didn't make a lot of money, but the little money I did have, I would give. It just the fear of hell.
Mm.
That's what kept me in, the fear of hell. But like I was tired of all the bullshit, the all the rebuking, the reprimanding, the you're not doing enough, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and it was just like I'm doing the best I can, and if it's not good enough, I'm like I shouldn't be here.
Right.
And I wish I would have left in 2010. I
What made
wish.
you but you said you were just really scared in 2000 scared, right? Scared to leave.
Hmm.
I completely understand that. Fear
Hmm.
is very powerful.
It is.
And I felt
Yeah.
that also. So then you stayed another 9 years.
Hmm.
Can you explain what the feeling was like in the church as 2012 was approaching and sort of, what the teachings were at that time?
At that time, they really didn't mention much.
No.
And in the year of 2012, they didn't mention much about the end because it wasn't going to happen. So they didn't mention much
Right.
about it. And of course, they had to use when 2013 came around, they had to use the inspection, because the Jerusalem temple had been the material is all set, but we got to inspect. So this inspection is still going on.
Yeah.
Hmm. But then also in 2012, 2012, I was in an arranged marriage.
Really?
Hmm.
I did
They
not
won't.
know.
They won't say that. They won't say that. They say you chose your husband. I didn't choose my
Right.
husband. If I show you
Wow.
pictures, you'll know I didn't choose my husband.
Wow. So you were married when you came in, right? I definitely
I
want to see a picture. So you were married when you came in, and then
uh-huh.
he came and got baptized, and then what happened with that marriage?
Well, the marriage was not good even before we got to the church, but I thought that
Right.
maybe somehow that was another reason for me to join, because I thought maybe through this we can mend our relationship. But and
Usually religions are good for marriage. Like a church, going to church together is good for a marriage, but not in this case, not in a WMSCOG. Yeah.
yeah. So then yeah, we divorced in 2010.
Oh,
2010 we
wow.
divorced. Yeah. So 2010 was a very sad year for me, and I was going through so many, and then the church didn't help me at all. At
yeah.
all.
They were
You know.
probably like, he was dead weight, get rid of him. Was
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
Did he leave the church?
Yeah, he left. He
Okay.
left.
in
Yeah.
2010?
Yeah. He was never there, like, really. He was just he would go just to keep the peace with me. It
Right.
wasn't like he was a leader, or he wanted to, he nothing inspired him there. He was just going just for the just to be there so that we couldn't fight anymore.
Right, right.
Hmm.
And so then how long after that did they want to arrange you in a marriage?
Well, they couldn't find a wife for this person. Like I said, I
Mm.
have to show you a picture, but they couldn't find somebody. So I wanted to be the person with the most faith, I'll be the one. I'll do it.
Wow, what a sacrifice.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Mm.
It really
Did he speak English? Was he American or was he from?
He was American.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, did you guys like date or anything like that, or you just got married?
2 dates. That's
2
it.
dates. Wow. Wow.
Was he nice?
He was nice.
Okay.
He
That's-
was nice.
And so you were already a missionary then. So I imagine there was also pressure. Like this was not your decision. Like this was pressure.
Well, usually people were told in private in the office, but I was told in a group meeting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
And how many people were there, do you think, in a group meeting?
All the female leaders.
Yeah.
So I was like over 20.
Wow. So in front of all those people, you can't just say, no, I don't want to get married.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to marry this person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Imagine if I would have said no.
Right.
You know what would be waiting for me.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So then did you guys just get married in pastor's office?
Yep.
Yeah.
We did. Mm-hmm.
What did your daughter think about that?
She was not happy about it.
Yeah.
She was not happy about it at all. But she later on she understood why.
Yeah.
She understood why I did it and how manipulated I was and how brainwashed I was. And we talk about it all the time. We had to go to therapy together because she was angry at me for a long time.
Yeah.
For that and for being in the church for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to 15-year-olds. So when she's at the age of leaving, did she go to therapy with you then? Was she willing to do that, or was it like?
No, it was after I left.
So how long were you married to that person until you left in 2019?
Yep.
Wow.
Until that time.
And is he still on right now?
Oh no, he left before I did.
Oh.
Yeah, we were married till then, but he left like a year before I did.
Wow.
Yeah. He's
Was
from
that-
Virginia, so I told him I think you should just go back to Virginia, go back there, and it's just not gonna work out. And he wanted to continue the relationship, but I was like, but there's really no love. The whole reason why we got together was for the gospel, and now, there's no need for us to be together.
Yeah.
Right.
We were a failed marriage according to the church.
But they're the ones that put you together.
Exactly.
And, controlled by God, they should know who's going to be good together and who isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Was the marriage difficult? Was it awkward kind of being married to a stranger? And
Yeah, very awkward. Yeah, it was very,
Yeah.
very awkward. But if
did you guys live in the church?
No. We weren't that kind of couple because we were not that great for them. We couldn't give enough for them. If you didn't have enough money and if you didn't have a certain, amount in your bank account, then you weren't really worth much to the church.
Wow. But that's interesting to me because you were a missionary, I felt like in our church, missionaries were very respected. Like very, very respected. And even from the pastor, received a lot of respect from the pastor.
Did you have female missionaries?
We did not when I was there.
That's why.
We did not. I think I've met a few female missionaries. Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is
That's
interesting.
why. The female missionaries got treated like crap.
So the arranged marriage was your husband he was a missionary also, or no?
Deacon.
Oh, so he was below you in status.
Yeah.
A missionary is not that common, Lindsay. Well, in Denver, we had maybe just a handful of missionaries. We didn't have many. Is that how it was over by you guys?
Yeah, it was.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember any. I remember like pastor and then deacon and deaconess.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew about the missionary status until later.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also elder for the males.
Yeah.
Right.
And Quantanim, when I thought Quantanim was just one person at Tony's church, I thought that was her name.
No. Did you feel like the male missionaries were favored in your Zion?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that because, like you said, we didn't really see a lot of female missionaries.
Yeah, they were favored. Uh-huh.
Oh, no.
Tony, did you see that with the deacon and the deaconess status, or did you feel like pretty equal?
I always felt like it was equal, but I was very brainwashed. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell when you're in there.
Yeah, and you would think that having a mother God, that it would be a very like female, feminine, like organization, but it's really not. Like, are there female pastors?
No.
No.
It will never happen.
Yeah.
Well,
that's so weird.
Because she's the only one. There's not going to be another female leader like that.
Yeah, that's.
Also, I think they like to have the Korean pastors that can get together for the General Assembly and they can all kind of make the plans. Don't you think? Like they're sort of the leaders of the whole world. So, yeah. Wow. So was there anything the whole time that you were in the church, was there anything in the back of your mind that was a doubt or was something that just kind of was eating away at you the whole time that you were there?
No, I was very hardcore.
Yeah.
I believed 100%, I would say, at the time, from the beginning that I was in there until even getting out. This journey was very hard for me because I believed the Sabbath, I believed the Passover, I believed all the laws. My doubt started with my last trip to Korea. When I didn't get the answers I wanted, or some kind of words of like, hey, snap out of it. But yeah, I really believed, like 100%. I did. I was really truly brainwashed. And then so the process of me deprogramming took a lot. It's still a process. I'm still in the process, because there's times when I'm like, I say, thank Father and Mother. And it's like, what the hell am I saying?
Where did that even come from? Yes. Yes.
Were you scared like something bad would happen to you when you left?
Oh yeah, I did. Till this day, I'm still iffy on plane rides.
Oh.
I'm like, this plane's going down today.
Because I'm on it.
Yeah. I'm on it, and I can keep the Passover, and that still goes through my mind.
I really want to hear like how you left, because for a missionary to leave, that's almost impossible. I've never heard. I mean, I've heard a handful, but not much.
Yeah, when Raymond found out, he was like, and I was like, he's like, I cannot believe you left. What made you leave? And it's like, I got tired. I really tired.
Yeah, can we talk about that next time? Then if you'd like to do more.
Sure, of course. Good. When I hear things, the only emotion that comes out is anger. It gets me angry to believe that I was lied for so many years and I was manipulated for so many years. And I was like, I'm not a stupid person. I'm smart. And it's like, how could I have let myself get brainwashed like this and manipulated like this? I was like, I can't believe I let myself get like this.
We just did that propaganda episode, and let me tell you, it was organized in a very manipulative way. So.
It was definitely.
Yeah, let's talk about that. It seems like me and you got out around the same time too.
Was COVID weird for you guys? Like, did you guys feel like that was maybe like because
I did.
I know it was for Tony. Did you feel weird with COVID, or were you out? You were like, no, I'm not.
No. The thing for me was like, what about all that talk about run to Zion when disasters happen? And it's like all these years I heard you run to Zion no matter what. If there's an earthquake, you run to Zion. If there's this, you run to Zion. And it's like, nobody's fucking running to Zion, bro. Everybody's staying at home, So like, like, what happened to that?
True.
So that's another thing that I checked off as another lie, another BS of them. And it's like, everybody's in their houses. Nobody ran to Zion. So,
they're doing Zoom calls. Yeah. Zoom services. Wow. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's true.
And then another thing. Well, a lot of members till this day, they think that they can save me, or like, they really believe that they cannot fathom that I don't believe anymore. And it's like, no, I don't. I don't buy it anymore. And they just don't believe it. So they tell me stories, even though I'm out. So till this day. And there was just something funny about COVID that, like, they did drive-by tithes and offerings. You had to go to the church, drive by, drop off there was somebody waiting for your tithes and offerings as you drove by.
That, you know what they wanted you to do? Is this kind of like, this is kind of when Tony was like, okay, I'm officially done with it.
Yeah.
During COVID, they wanted her to tithe in order to hold Passover. And they didn't let her. They wouldn't let her do Passover because she wasn't tithing.
Yeah.
See, and that goes to show another thing, that they always change. So this last year, it changed. This last Passover, you could take it. Oh, Mother wants everybody to keep the Passover. So even if you didn't tithe, or even if you didn't, and I was like, wow, they must be going down in numbers.
Right, for sure. That's why I think your story and for you to speak out is so powerful, because people cannot believe that you could get out, and even to this day, they're like, they can't believe it. So, I'm really thankful that you came on and that you're going to share your story with us, because it is powerful for people to hear. And there may be missionaries in there right now that have some doubts and are scared of everything they're going to lose by leaving. And so maybe by hearing your story, they may be encouraged, or, to
I
try
hope
to get out
so.
too.
I
Me
really
too.
do. I really hope so.
Freedom is so fun. You know,
Yeah, it is very fun. It is different, but it's hard to get out. So
it is very hard, but it's just like, at the point when I left, it was like, what was more important to me, my sanity, or because I was so unhappy towards the end.
They like whittle you down. I don't know. They burn you out. Like, I don't know what the expectation of longevity is.
do you remember them talking about how some people wouldn't have faith until the end? How some people only have faith to like make it a little bit, but then they'd fall away. But you have to have faith till the end. They would always tell us that. Till the end. It's like
till the end, yeah.
But also no worries.
No worries.
No worries, yeah.
All right, Emma, thank you for talking to us.
Emma's going to come back. We're going to do a part 2 with Emma so that we can hear more detailed about like her leaving and all that. So
yeah,
for
stay
sure,
tuned.
For sure. Boom, baby.